As Zixvarna's personal vessel prepared for departure, he retreated to his private chambers to review the mysterious case of Earth one final time. The room darkened as he activated the secure data core containing all hegemony intelligence on the troublesome planet. "Display historical contact timeline," he commanded, his deep voice echoing in the empty chamber. A chronological display materialized before him, beginning with the first hegemony scout ship that identified Earth nearly 2 centuries ago. The initial assessment had been dismissive. Pre-interstellar civilization with limited technological development and significant internal conflicts. Recommend classification as low-priority acquisition target. Zixvarna scrolled forward through decades of periodic observation reports. The trajectory of human development didn't match any standard evolution model in the hegemony database. Most species took centuries to advance from combustion engines to basic space travel. Humans had done it in mere decades. Computer analyzed technological acceleration factors for Earth compared to standard Conquest targets. The system processed for several moments before responding. Earth technological development speed exceeds 94% of all documented civilizations. Inconsistency detected. Advancement appears to accelerate following periods of internal conflict or environmental crisis. That pattern bothered Zixvarna deeply. The hegemony's conquest strategy relied on predictable development curves. They typically allowed target worlds to reach a specific technological threshold, advanced enough to be useful, but not advanced enough to pose a serious threat, before swooping in to integrate them into the Empire. Earth had somehow bypassed that vulnerable middle phase, leapfrogging through technological eras with unsettling speed. Display infiltration mission reports. Chronological order, he ordered. 17 mission summaries appeared, each ending with the same conclusion. Operatives lost, objective failed. The specifics varied. Some teams had simply vanished without a trace, others had been captured by Earth security forces, and a few had apparently gone rogue, their tracking implants disabled. Most disturbing were the psychological evaluations of the 3 agents who had been successfully extracted. All showed unusual thought patterns after spending time among humans. One had even attempted to warn Earth about future hegemony plans before being neutralized by her handler. What is it about these humans that corrupts even our most loyal operatives? Zixvarna muttered, his skin darkening with concern. A soft chime interrupted his thoughts as Science Officer Trell requested entry. When admitted, the slender alien approached with uncharacteristic hesitation. "High Admiral, the Council transmitted additional directives regarding the Earth mission," Trell said, extending a secure data crystal. "For your eyes only." Zixvarna dismissed his subordinate before accessing the crystal's contents. The message was brief, but sent a chill through his 4 hearts. Intelligence suggests Earth has made contact with the Devorum Collective. Possibility of alliance cannot be dismissed. Your mission parameters are expanded. Determine Earth's defensive capabilities, identify exploitable weaknesses, and assess threat level. If threat exceeds containment parameters, you are authorized to initiate Protocol Omega-7. Zixvarna's skin turned ash-gray. Protocol Omega-7 was planetary sterilization, the complete eradication of all life on a world deemed too dangerous to conquer or coexist with. In 3 centuries of service, he had only witnessed its implementation twice. So, he whispered to the rotating hologram of Earth, "The Council fears you that much already." As his ship broke orbit and set course for the unremarkable yellow star that harbored such a remarkable problem, Zixvarna made a private vow. He would solve the puzzle of humanity's resilience before anyone, hegemony, or human, forced his hand toward a solution that couldn't be undone. The diplomatic transport hummed quietly as it carried Captain Chen and the hegemony delegation toward New Geneva, Earth's international governance center. Through the panoramic windows, Earth's landscape unfolded in a carefully choreographed display of civilization. Gleaming cities nestled between preserved wilderness, a balance that seemed to surprise the alien visitors. "Your urban planning is unexpected," Six Varna commented, his four eyes scanning the terrain. "Most developing species maximize habitable space." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "We learned that lesson the hard way. The climate reconciliation of the 2070s taught us that technology and nature function best as partners, not competitors." She watched Zix Varna absorb this information, noting how his attention lingered on the wilderness areas. Her neural implant quietly flagged increased infrared emissions from the Admiral's exosuit. He was scanning those regions more intensively than the cities. "Looking for something specific?" she asked casually. The Admiral's skin rippled briefly, surprise her xenobiology training suggested, before settling. "Merely admiring your conservation efforts. The hegemony also values biological diversity. After worlds join our collective." The implied threat wasn't lost on Chen, but she merely nodded pleasantly. "I'm sure they do." As the transport banked toward the landing platform, Chen received a priority update through her neural link. The microscopic surveillance countermeasures had already detected 17 different types of hegemony monitoring devices being deployed throughout the city. More concerning, 3 were technologies Earth's intelligence had never documented before. "Our science team is particularly excited to exchange research," Chen said, smoothly changing the subject. "We've prepared demonstrations of our current propulsion systems. Nothing too impressive, but we're proud of our progress." Science Officer Trell leaned forward, his elongated fingers twitching with what seemed like eagerness. "We observed your vessels achieve only fractional light speed. Have you not discovered phased tachyon induction?" It was a probing question, a test to gauge Earth's actual technological level. Chen had been briefed to expect such inquiries. "Sadly, no," she replied with calculated disappointment. "Our theories suggest such technology might be possible, but we haven't made the breakthrough yet." The lie flowed easily. Earth had moved beyond tachyon induction decades ago, but Strategic Command had determined exactly which technologies to reveal and which to conceal during this encounter. As they disembarked at the government complex, Chen noticed Zix Varna studying her with increased intensity. His posture had shifted slightly, more alert, more cautious. "Is something troubling you, Admiral?" she asked. "Not at all," he replied smoothly. "I simply find human expressions fascinating. Your species communicates so much through subtle facial movements." Chen maintained her diplomatic smile while inwardly acknowledging that the game was evolving. The Admiral was sharper than expected, already sensing discrepancies in Earth's carefully constructed facade. "Director Okoro is waiting to formally welcome you," Chen said, gesturing toward the impressive structure ahead. "She's eager to discuss cultural exchange opportunities." What she didn't mention was that Okoro was Earth's most accomplished xenopsychologist, as well as the former head of global intelligence. If anyone could decipher the true intentions of the hegemony, it would be her. As they approached the reception hall, Chen's neural link vibrated with an urgent update. One of the stealth perimeter satellites had detected a cloaked hegemony probe attempting to break orbit and transmit data back to their territory. "Shall we neutralize?" came the subvocal query from Defense Command. Chen's response was immediate. "No, Track but don't interfere. Let's see what they're so interested in finding. The real dance was just beginning, and Earth had been practicing its steps for generations. As Zixvarna's analysis team continued their work in the Grand Historical Archive, he followed Dr. Okafor into a smaller chamber containing physical artifacts rather than digital records. Glass cases held ancient weapons, primitive communication devices, and what appeared to be early spacecraft components. Most species preserve only their successes, Zixvarna observed, pausing before a damaged space capsule. You seem to celebrate your failures as well. Okafor ran his fingers along the scorched metal. This is from the Artemis 7 disaster of 2041. 5 crew members lost when the oxygen system failed during a Mars mission. Yet you continued your Mars program, Zixvarna noted. We launched Artemis 8 just 6 months later with redesigned systems, Okafor confirmed. The new safety protocols developed after the disaster are still used in all off-world habitats today. The pattern continued throughout the exhibit, catastrophic failures followed by innovative solutions that pushed humanity forward. It was unlike anything in the Hegemony historical database, where failure typically resulted in punishment and abandonment of challenging projects. Your historical records suggest something unique about human cognitive processes, Zixvarna said carefully. Most species learn to avoid dangers. You seem to adapt to them instead. Okafor's expression remained neutral, but his eyes brightened with interest. An insightful observation, Admiral. Perhaps it's because we evolved on a planet that never allowed us the luxury of avoidance. Earth has experienced 5 major extinction events before humans even evolved. Our planet taught us harsh lessons about survival. This information troubled Zixvarna deeply. The Hegemony classified worlds by stability, preferring to incorporate species from predictable environments. Earth's historical volatility might explain humanity's unusual adaptability and their resistance to hegemony influence. I've noticed another curiosity, Zixvarna said, testing a theory forming in his mind. Your conflicts rarely end in complete domination. Even your most powerful historical empires eventually fragmented or transformed rather than expanding indefinitely. Sustainability over conquest, Okafor replied with a slight smile. Though we learned that lesson through much bloodshed. Later that evening, Zixvarna met with his intelligence team in their supposedly secure quarters. Their expressions conveyed the disturbing news before they spoke. The surveillance network is compromised, High Admiral, his security chief reported. We've detected systematic manipulation of our data feeds. The humans are allowing us to see exactly what they want us to see. Are they aware of our true purpose? Zixvarna asked. Evidence suggests not only awareness but preparation, the security chief confirmed grimly. Analysis of their defense grid activation patterns indicates they've been expecting hegemony contact for at least 3 decades. Zixvarna's skin darkened with concern. That's impossible. Our first scout ship arrived 20 years ago. Nevertheless, their defensive preparations began before our arrival, the intelligence officer insisted. And there's more. The 3 teams that went silent were tracked to a facility in the mountains. Thermal imaging shows the facility extends at least 15 levels underground, with power consumption suggesting advanced technology far beyond what humans have demonstrated publicly. Zixvarna moved to the window, gazing out at Earth's night sky. The pieces were beginning to form a disturbing picture, one that contradicted everything the hegemony understood about developing civilizations. They've been watching us, he said quietly, not just reacting to our presence, but anticipating it. The question is, how? The security chief hesitated before adding, There's one more anomaly, High Admiral. We've detected low-frequency communications between Earth and the asteroid belt in a pattern consistent with coordination rather than simple monitoring. Whatever they're hiding, it's not limited to this planet. Zix Varna made his decision. Tomorrow we accept their invitation to the Mountain facility. It's time to see what they're so carefully hiding beneath the surface, both literally and figuratively. Director Okoro led the Hegemony delegation deeper into the Mountain facility, past the impressive command center to areas that seemed intentionally austere, almost primitive compared to the technology they had already witnessed. This section houses our temporal analysis division, she explained, gesturing to scientists working with what appeared to be simple data terminals. We study historical patterns to predict possible futures. Zix Varna noticed something odd about the researchers. Unlike the military personnel they had encountered, these humans moved with a strange fluidity, their coordination almost too perfect. His ocular implants detected subtle discrepancies in their thermal signatures. They're not human, he realized suddenly, keeping his voice low enough that only his security chief could hear. Before his subordinate could respond, Director Okoro turned to him with that same unsettling smile. "You're quite observant, Admiral." "No, they're not human, at least not entirely. We call them integrates." She approached one of the researchers, who turned at her gesture. The human-appearing figure had eyes that reflected light like polished metal, and when it spoke, its voice contained harmonics impossible for organic vocal cords. "The temporal probability matrices are stable, Director," it reported. "Convergence remains within acceptable parameters." "Thank you, 8. Okoro replied before returning her attention to the visibly disturbed Hegemony visitors. "Integrates are a symbiosis of human consciousness and artificial intelligence. They process information in ways organic minds cannot." Zix Varna struggled to maintain his diplomatic composure. The Hegemony had experimented with such technology centuries ago, abandoning it after catastrophic failures. That humans had apparently succeeded, where the Hegemony had failed, was yet another disturbing piece of the puzzle. "You seem surprised, Admiral," Okoro observed. "Perhaps your intelligence on Earth is less complete than you believed." The subtle challenge in her voice confirmed what Zix Varna had begun to suspect. This guided tour was as much about showing the Hegemony what humans wanted them to see as it was about genuine disclosure. They continued to a massive circular chamber dominated by a holographic projection of the galaxy. Hundreds of worlds were highlighted in various colors, with data streams connecting them in complex patterns. "Our Galactic Awareness Initiative," Okoro explained. "We monitor potentially habitable worlds throughout the Milky Way." Zix Varna's attention fixed on a particular sector, one containing 3 recent Hegemony conquests. The data associated with these worlds was extensive, including detailed information about Hegemony occupation forces and resistance movements. "This information," he said carefully, "would require observers on those worlds, or communication with their native populations," Okoro acknowledged without hesitation. "Earth believes in maintaining connections with other civilizations, particularly those experiencing transitions." The implication was clear. Humans had been in contact with worlds the Hegemony had conquered, possibly even supporting resistance efforts. If true, it constituted a direct challenge to Hegemony authority. Before Zix Varna could formulate a response, a young human officer approached Director Okoro with urgency. "Priority signal from Outpost Ceres," the officer reported quietly. "Constellation protocols activated." Something changed in Okoro's demeanor, a subtle shift from calculated openness to guarded alertness. "I see. Schedule is accelerated then. She turned to Captain Chen. Prepare the disclosure package. We're moving to Phase 3. Chen nodded sharply and departed without explanation. Is there a problem, Director? Zixvarna inquired, attempting to maintain the pretense of diplomatic ignorance. Not a problem, Admiral, Okoro replied with renewed composure. An opportunity. I believe it's time we discussed why we invited the hegemony to Earth in the first place. She gestured toward a secure door at the far end of the chamber, one protected by security measures beyond anything they had seen thus far. Beyond this point, Admiral, lies the true reason Earth remains unchallenged. Are you certain you wish to know? After witnessing the abilities of the integrates, Zixvarna found himself in a sprawling laboratory where human children engaged in what appeared to be simple games. His security team remained on high alert, unsettled by the revelations of the previous chamber. Our educational division, Okoro explained, gesturing toward the children who ranged from approximately 5 to 15 Earth years. Perhaps the most important part of our facility. Zixvarna observed as a young girl, no more than 7 years old, manipulated complex geometric projections with casual gestures. The shapes folded through dimensions that should have been incomprehensible to a child's mind. She's solving quantum entanglement parameters, his science officer whispered, unable to hide his astonishment. That's postgraduate level physics in the hegemony. A boy in another section appeared to be playing a musical instrument, but Zixvarna's enhanced hearing detected patterns in the notes, mathematical sequences that shifted in response to data flowing across nearby screens. You're training them from childhood, Zixvarna said, understanding dawning. Not just education, cognitive enhancement. Okoro nodded, watching the children with evident pride. Humans have always learned fastest during early neural development. We simply optimize that natural process. Without genetic modification, the Admiral asked, scanning the children and finding no evidence of the biological engineering the hegemony used to create specialized worker castes. We tried that path, Okoro admitted. It proved limiting. Our strength lies in adaptability, not specialization. These children can become anything: scientists, artists, strategists. Their potential remains fluid. This contradicted everything the hegemony understood about efficient civilization building. Their entire empire was structured around genetic and technological specialization. Individuals optimized for specific roles from conception. You're creating generalists in an age of specialists, Zixvarna observed. Precisely, Okoro confirmed. When facing unknown challenges, specific adaptations can become liabilities. The human approach favors broad capability over narrow efficiency. She led them to a simulation chamber where teenagers engaged in what appeared to be crisis management scenarios. Zixvarna watched as one team faced a simulated asteroid impact, rapidly reorganizing their virtual society not just to survive, but to capitalize on the new resources the impact made available. They're not just solving the problem, his science officer noted with growing concern. They're turning it into an advantage. That's the key difference in our approach, Okoro explained. The hegemony sees threats to be neutralized. We see opportunities for transformation. As if to demonstrate, she activated a display showing Earth's historical response to major crises, environmental disasters that accelerated clean energy development, pandemics that revolutionized medicine, resource shortages that spawned entirely new industries. This pattern extends to your encounters with other species. Zixvarna realized, the final piece clicking into place. You don't conquer them because you gain more by cooperating with them. Each brings unique perspectives that enhance your adaptability. Now you understand why direct conquest is an outdated approach, Okoro said with quiet confidence. The hegemony absorbs worlds, but dilutes their unique contributions. We form connections that strengthen both parties. She paused as Captain Chen returned, her expression betraying urgency despite her composed demeanor. The Ceres transmission is verified, Chen reported. Quantum signatures confirm authenticity. Okoro turned to Zixlarna with sudden intensity. Admiral, events are accelerating beyond our planned timeline. The choice I offered you earlier can no longer wait. What choice? He asked, skin darkening with apprehension. Whether to be present when your council discovers why their assumptions about Earth have been catastrophically wrong, she answered. Your fleet commander has just received new orders from the Hegemony Council, orders you weren't informed about. Chen's neural link projected a message intercept with the Hegemony's highest security encryption. The content was unmistakable. Authorization for immediate implementation of Protocol Omega-7. They've ordered Earth's sterilization, Zixlarna whispered, his worst fears confirmed. As the reality of the Hegemony's betrayal sank in, Zixlarna's skin fluctuated through colors, reflecting his internal conflict, rage, shock, and something unfamiliar to his species, shame. How long do we have? He asked, his voice unnaturally steady. Captain Chen consulted her neural interface. The fleet will achieve optimal firing position in approximately 4 hours. Their sterilization protocols require precise orbital alignment for maximum coverage. The command center had transformed around them, personnel moving with urgent purpose but remarkable composure. There was no panic, only coordinated action, as if this scenario had been rehearsed countless times. You knew this would happen, Zixlarna realized, observing the humans' reaction. You anticipated the Council's decision. We calculated a 78% probability, Director Okoro confirmed. The hegemony pattern is consistent across 17 documented civilizations. When initial infiltration fails, overwhelming force follows. Zixlarna struggled to process the implications. Then why allow my mission at all? Why reveal your capabilities? Because we needed you to see, Okoro replied simply. Not just Earth's defenses, but who we are. What humanity represents in the galactic ecosystem. His security chief moved closer, voice low and urgent. High Admiral, these humans have compromised our communications and admitted to interfering with hegemony operations. Whatever their capabilities, our duty to the Council is clear. The choice before him crystallized with terrible clarity. His life had been dedicated to the hegemony's expansion. Billions of lives across thousands of worlds depended on the stability that expansion provided. Yet the attack on Earth without proper assessment violated the very protocols he had sworn to uphold. The hegemony survives through assimilation of useful traits from conquered species. Zixlarna said slowly, if humanity has developed adaptability beyond our understanding, destroying them serves no logical purpose. It eliminates a potential asset. His security chief's expression hardened. The Council has made its determination. We serve the hegemony, not our own judgment. Before the standoff could escalate, the facility's lights dimmed momentarily as a deep vibration resonated through the mountain itself. Defensive grid fully activated, reported an officer from a nearby station. Ceres contingent confirms deployment status Alpha. On the main display, hundreds of small signatures appeared throughout the solar system, emerging from hidden positions in the asteroid belt, beneath the surfaces of moons, and from the atmospheres of gas giants. Earth's hidden fleet was revealing itself, and its scale dwarfed anything the approaching hegemony force could match. "You could have destroyed our ships at any time," Sixarna said, understanding finally dawning. "Conflict was never our objective, Admiral," Okoro explained. "We hoped your mission would provide the hegemony with enough information to recognize the futility of conquest. Unfortunately, fear has clouded their judgment." Captain Chen approached with a secure communication device. "We've prepared a channel to your fleet commander. Given your status, they might still heed your assessment before committing to an irreversible course of action." The weight of galaxies seemed to press upon Zixlarna's shoulders as he accepted the device. His entire career, his identity, was bound to hegemony service. Yet everything he had learned about Earth suggested that the Council's decision was not just tactically flawed, but existentially dangerous. "If I do this," he said carefully, "what guarantee do I have that Earth won't simply eliminate the hegemony threat entirely? Your forces clearly hold the advantage." Director Okoro's expression softened slightly. "The same guarantee that has kept us from launching preemptive strikes against your empire for the past century, Admiral. Humanity doesn't seek dominance, we seek balance." She gestured to the galactic display where thousands of worlds glowed with potential. "There are threats in this universe far greater than either of us. The real question isn't whether Earth will survive today's confrontation. It's whether our civilizations will learn to face the coming darkness together." The secure communication chamber hummed with energy as Zixlarna prepared to contact the hegemony fleet. His security chief had been politely but firmly escorted to another room after attempting to prevent what he viewed as treason. The four-eyed admiral stood alone before the quantum transmission array, the most advanced communication technology he had ever witnessed. "The channel is secure and undetectable," Captain Chen confirmed from the doorway. "Your fleet won't know you're transmitting from our facility." Zixlarna's skin had settled into a resolute blue-grey. "That hardly matters now. Once I speak against the Council's orders, my fate is sealed regardless of my location." He activated the transmitter, connecting directly to Fleet Commander Drex aboard the Hegemony flagship. The commander's face materialized in the holographic display, surprise evident in his expression. "Hi, Admiral. We believed you compromised or captured. The Council ordered us to proceed with Protocol Omega-7 under the assumption that your mission had failed." "My mission succeeded beyond all parameters, Commander," Sixfarna replied with newfound certainty. "I have discovered why Earth remains unchallenged, and I am invoking my authority under Statute 37 of the High Command to suspend the sterilization order." Drex's expression hardened. "With respect, Admiral, the Council's directive supersedes." "The Council lacks critical information," Zixvarna interrupted. "Information that renders their directive not merely tactically unsound, but existentially dangerous to the hegemony itself." He transmitted the data package Earth had prepared. A comprehensive assessment of human capabilities, including their distributed presence throughout the galaxy and their technological achievements. Most crucially, it included evidence of threats the hegemony had never encountered, cosmic anomalies, predatory civilizations from beyond the galactic rim, and something humans called the convergence, a phenomenon their predictive models suggested would threaten all intelligent life within the next century. "This is extraordinary," Drex murmured as he processed the information. "If accurate." "It is accurate, Commander. I have verified it personally." Zixlarna's voice carried the weight of absolute conviction. Earth doesn't remain unconquered because of technological superiority or military strength, though they possess both. Their true advantage is cognitive. They think differently than any species we've encountered. They transform threats into opportunities. They adapt rather than dominate. The commander's hesitation was palpable. The fleet is already in attack position, Admiral. Counter-rending council orders of this magnitude requires. Look at your tactical display, Commander, Zixvarna suggested quietly. On cue, Earth's concealed defenses activated their targeting systems, illuminating every hegemony vessel with precision lock-ons. The message was unmistakable. The fleet had been allowed to approach, but annihilation was merely a command away. They could have destroyed you at any time, Zixvarna continued. Instead, they invited us to understand them. This isn't surrender, Commander. It's awakening to a larger reality. After a long silence, Drex nodded. I am ordering the fleet to stand down pending further assessment. But the Council will demand explanation, Admiral. I will provide it personally, Zixvarna assured him. Prepare for my return. As the transmission ended, Director Okoro entered the chamber. Your decision honors both our civilizations, Admiral. It may cost me everything, he replied soberly. Perhaps, she acknowledged. Or it may transform the hegemony as profoundly as our own crisis transformed humanity. After all, adaptation begins with survival pressure. She gestured toward an adjacent chamber where Captain Chen waited. Before you depart, there's one final revelation you should witness. The true reason Earth remained hidden from the hegemony until we chose to reveal ourselves. 6 months after the near conflict, Zixvarna stood at the observation deck of the newly constructed Harmony Station, watching representatives from 27 civilizations arrive for the historic summit. The massive space platform orbited at the precise gravitational balance point between Earth and its moon, symbolizing the equilibrium humanity sought with other species. Still adjusting to your new title? Director Okoro asked, joining him at the viewport. Zixvarna's skin rippled with amusement. Galactic Liaison sounds more diplomatic than High Admiral, though some in the hegemony consider it a demotion. And you, she inquired. I consider it an evolution, he replied, echoing the human terminology that had increasingly influenced his thinking. His return to the Hegemony Council had been as difficult as expected. He had faced accusations of treason, corruption by human influence, even suggestions that his mind had been altered. But the undeniable data he presented, coupled with the sobering demonstration of Earth's defensive capabilities, had ultimately convinced enough council members that a new approach was necessary. The resulting Treaty of Seoul represented the first time in 3 millennia that the hegemony had recognized another civilization as an equal rather than a conquest target. More revolutionary still was the Cooperative Defense Initiative now taking shape, an alliance of diverse species preparing for threats that transcended individual civilizations. The Devaran delegation has arrived, Captain Chen, now Admiral Chen, reported as she approached. Their hive speaker specifically requested your presence at the welcoming ceremony. The same Devorans who refused hegemony contact for centuries, Zixvarna noted with lingering amazement. They respect how you challenged your own leadership, Chen explained. It suggests to them that the hegemony might actually be capable of change. As they moved toward the ceremonial hall, Zixvarna reflected on the final revelation Director Okoro had shown him before his return to the hegemony, the true reason Earth had remained hidden until choosing to reveal itself. Deep beneath the mountain facility, in a chamber shielded by technologies beyond even current human understanding, he had witnessed the Quantum Temporal Observatory, a device that allowed limited perception of probability streams flowing from past to future. For centuries, humans had glimpsed fragmentary visions of potential futures, including the devastating convergence that threatened all intelligent life. Those glimpses had shown two possible paths. One where civilizations remained divided and fell one by one to the coming threat, and another where diversity of thought and approach became their collective strength. Earth had deliberately remained obscure until the precise moment when contact with a hegemony could potentially shift the probability streams toward cooperation. The Arcturus representative has a proposal for adapting hegemony phase shift technology to human distributed defense systems, Chen mentioned, reviewing the day's agenda. Their engineers believe the combined approach could increase effectiveness by 340%. Another example of synthesis creating something greater than either original. Zixvarna observed. They entered the Great Chamber where once hostile species now engaged in animated technical and cultural exchange. The Devoran hive speaker, an imposing insectoid being, inclined its sensory stalks in greeting as they approached. Galactic liaison Zixvarna, it chittered through its translator. Your presence honors this gathering. The Devoran Collective has studied your species' historical adaptability matrix with great interest. We are learning from humanity that adaptation need not come solely from conquest. Zixvarna replied, using the formal Devoran greeting gesture his old self would have considered beneath his dignity. Director Okoro stepped forward to complete the diplomatic exchange. After all, the most successful species are not those with the greatest strength or highest intelligence, but those most responsive to change. From his new perspective, Zixvarna finally understood the hidden reason Earth had remained unchallenged. Humanity's greatest weapon had never been technology or tactics, but perspective, the ability to see crisis as transformation waiting to happen. And now, that perspective was spreading throughout the galaxy, preparing countless civilizations for the greater challenges to come.